course, we have to reduce or diminish the interference, the obstacle, internal interference or obstacle for the growth of that. And that is the main interferences, the main obstacles for the growth of true compassion of the mind which cherishes others very much is our own self-centeredness. Our selfish mind, where where the world, as I mentioned yesterday and today, where the whole world involved around me, everything that we engage into with anyone, anything that we engage into, it has to start somewhere from me, something to do with me, my. That is how our self-centered, selfish mind act. Even when we're trying to help someone, we're helping someone because, not because he needs help, not because he is human being, not because he wishes to be happy, he doesn't wish to suffer, but because he is my something, my friend, my parent, my children. It has to do something with my. If it is nothing to do with me, my, then I'm more indifferent. So, and that is why our love, affections towards them is not so stable. If, on the other hand, if we can kind of build that kind of sense of cherishing others, sense of concern for others, sense of feeling close to others, dear to others, on the basis of not because he is my someone, but because he or she is human beings, sentient beings, because he or she needs help. That is why why we are unable to go beyond that limited affections, beyond that limited compassion, that beyond that limited concern. And we can see, when we are more self-centered, this egoistic mind, selfish, is always we get more uptight. It's like you are bringing all the energy towards here. Check it out. We become more tense. We become more tense, more uptight. The more stronger you are, but the more stronger we are about ourselves. The more stronger we are about our needs. our joy, happiness, you can feel it. It's like you are drawing all the energy and making you more tense, more uptight. But the moment you begin to kind of open up your eyes of your mind and to be able to see the problems of others, pains of others, when you begin to open your heart, your mind towards that, to be able to see pain, happiness of others, to be able to feel that happy and that the problem and pain of others, and have some concern, your mind is much more kind of opening up, much more opening. The energy is kind of like flowing. It's not constructed. Do you get it? Like it is like before is all energy is constructed, so that is why there seems like it's uptight and very tense. But when you begin to that, it's just like what the meditation we did this morning, when you begin to let that healing energy of that loving kindness, when you begin to allow it to flow, expand, extend, there's more feeling of more lighter, more spacious, more openness. The more we are able to open our heart, mind towards others, the more we have sense of concern for others, the more we have affections for others, the less we feel, the less painful we feel about our own problems, our own pains, our own sufferings. The more we are concerned with my problem, my pain, my suffering, the more painful it is. The more intensity, the more stronger it is. Check it out, check it out. We can check with our own experience. The more concern you have, we have small problem. Even though it is small problem in our life, it feels the whole problem of the world has fallen on us. It looks so big, so unbearable, almost hopeless. That is why we get into depressions, feeling hopeless, helpless, because we think in our mind the problem seems too big to handle. The pain seems too big to handle. It looks too strong, too big to overcome it. The more you feel it, of course, the more you feel more depressed. Our mind get more and more, lose more hope and become more and more helpless and feel, and then more and more depressions. But when you begin to kind of open up your mind and begin to see it is not only me, it's not only me who is having a problem, pain, suffering. There are so many hundred thousands of people who are suffering like me, who are going through so much pain like me, or who are having even much more problem, much more pain. When your mind begins to kind of open up from just seeing your problem and just be able to see more bigger. Not only your problem, you see your problem, you also see other problem. You also not only feel your problem, you are able to understand, not only understand your problem, you are able to understand others' problems. When you not only understand that you are, just as you are able to feel your problem, when you are able to feel the problem of others, your own problems become so tiny, so small, compared to the problem that there is in the world, or everyone has. Your own problem, your own pain, your own suffering seems very small. When you see that, then you feel it is not so overwhelming. It doesn't seem so big, so bad. You begin to see, yes, there is problem, there is that, but it is just one small problem there. So therefore you feel it's doable, that you can overcome that, you can deal with that, you can manage that. Because now your perspective, your view about the problem has become very small. You see very small problems. Before, it's like you have closed your mind from seeing, understanding, feeling others' problems. Your mind is directed, every energy is directed towards your problem, your pain like this. So you can imagine when you have no space to see anything else, this camera will say huge. Do you get it what I mean? If I've been looking to this camera the whole time and I don't see anything else to compare anything, this might seem as big as Mount Everest to me, my mind, slowly, gradually. But when I begin to kind of open up, see, then check it out, check it out. So when we begin to open our mind in that way and begin to see, understand, feel other problem, our own pain, our own suffering, our own problem, we acknowledge there is problem, but it doesn't seem as so big as it seems before. It doesn't seem as not manageable as it seemed before. It doesn't seem as intense or strong as it was before. And then when you have that kind of attitude or that kind of perspective, then it gives you much more hope, much more positive outlook, much more hopeful. And of course, when we have that perspective, that positive outlook, when you see hope, then that gives you the boost, the energy that you need to solve the problem. Then you begin to work to make things change. And when you begin to work towards making the things change, then you are able to change. Then we find a solution to work with that. Most time we just are kind of feel hopeless and just do nothing because we think there is hopeless to that problem. That is what ends up a lot of people who have a strong depression. They close themselves from everything else because they feel totally hopeless. So when there is hopeless, you don't feel there is purpose in putting energy. because you don't see there is any hope to change the situations. So why would you waste your energy, time, if there is no hope of transformation, change? So therefore, people doesn't put effort. When you don't put effort trying to make the change, how can it change? It cannot change. Only through when you put effort and you try to work to make change, then it happens change. And that, the energy, the boost you need to start to make the change comes when you feel hope that it can be done. It can be fixed. There is a way out of that. There is solutions. When you feel that, then that is when you do. And so that is where, in order to feel there is hope, solution, that then the more smaller you feel about your problem, the more you see that is manageable, fixable. The bigger you see it, the stronger you see it, the less you feel it can be fixed. The less confidence it gives you that it can be fixed. In some cases, when your such feeling is strong, you wouldn't maybe even feel the pain. You might not even feel the pain. Not only you feel very small compared to before, when you are so self-centered and it's all about you. Not only it feels less painful, less problem, maybe you might not even see it as a problem. Maybe you might not even feel the pain. Not only on emotional level, mental level, maybe even on physical level, it can have such effect. I think one of the example maybe that we can use is His Holiness the Lama was saying, he was sharing a story. I think it was 2002, I guess, when he had some stone in his
gallbladder.
Glider.
Gallbladder. Yes.
How do you say?
Gallbladder.
Gallbladder.
Yes.
And so it was very painful, and he had to cancel the teachings, the Kalachakra, the initiations, and he was taken to hospital. And His Holiness was mentioning that while he was kind of in the car where they were going to the hospital, on the way, on the street, he saw a lot of people, homeless people, especially children, shelterless, homeless, on the roads. And so his mind kept on going in their pain, their suffering, you know. He was constantly thinking throughout the whole journey about, because it was so obvious that he saw there, and then his mind totally went into thinking of their pain, their suffering, and what kind of things that they might be experiencing. So his mind was totally kind of involved in seeing, understanding, feeling their pain, and total concern about their pain, and his mind was totally engaged in that. Without him noticing, the pain that he had, even physical pain, was almost gone, which it was feeling so quite strong at the very beginning now, and it is not after the treatment. Before that it was, and then that is what happens, you know. That is just one small example. That's just one of the examples. even with our one example, again another can be like, for example, in a very small way, is when we have some physical pain, when your mind is so directed on that just physical pain, it seems much more painful. You feel more pain. But when your awareness, mindfulness is able to kind of be more aware of not just this pain, the whole process in your body, everything's emotion, everything. When you have more kind of, your minds begin to be more kind of, more opening up, broader, and being more aware of not just that sensation of that feeling, but wholeness in your whole body, the all other sensation that you feel at different part and everything, and then emotion, everything, the pain is less. You feel that less. And then when you direct your minds beyond your body to others' pain, and to be able to see, understand, feel, is totally different experience. So yeah, so what I was trying to explain how when the more stronger the self-centered, selfish we are, the more painful it is. The more painful it is, the bigger the problem seems, the bigger the pain feels. Again, I think that is one of the reasons why we have so much pain in that sense, because we are all the time constantly so it's all about me, my. Isn't it? It is interesting. I mean, it's interesting. As I said, even when we try to help, it always starts with me, in most cases. Me,